This is the best OBS settings for low-end PCs. The first thing you want to do is make sure your output mode is in advanced. This is where you can customize the most settings. Okay, so obviously first thing you need your recording path. For me, I have my D drive. I have 2 drives. I thankfully have 2 SSDs in my setup. I keep all my games, OBS, and all my applications on my main drive, and then I keep all my clips, my recordings, everything put on my D drive, which is my second SSD. If you have 2 drives, the best thing you can do is make sure to separate the 2. It just means you can hopefully squeeze some more performance out of your machine, but if you don't, the game's the game. You'll just need to keep them on the one drive, and it'll obviously rack up a lot of space really quickly. But if you do only have one drive, I would recommend getting an external hard drive that you can just plug in a USB, take all your recordings, all your clips, and put them onto that to save some space, because if your SSD or your hard drive is quite full, it just means you're going to have pretty bad performance. And once you have that done, next thing you need to change recording format. For me, MP4 is best because I need to edit them, and it just saves a lot of time from conversions. Now, there is a way in OBS that you can convert it as soon as it's done recording. For me, it wasn't really necessary, but if you'd like me to make a video on that, just let me know. Now, the only thing with MP4 is if it does corrupt or it does crash, you will lose your recording. But for me, MP4 works best. Video encoder NVIDIA NVENC H.264. It is just the best. I don't want to overcomplicate things because this is a video for low-end PCs, but I'd thrive on this if you can. But that's the main things in recording settings. Everything's there. You can pause it, screenshot it, whatever you need to do, but I'd recommend these settings if you can. Next thing is encoder settings. So I found CBR worked best for me when I had a low-end setup, so that's what I'm going to stick with. The main thing that I would recommend you play about with to tailor to your own PC would be your bitrate. The rest of the settings I would try keep if you can. I'll run through them and I'll give my own thoughts of what I've experienced, but the PC's different. Everybody has different specs, different levels, different performances. Ideally, if you're recording in 1920 1080, the bare minimum should be between, I think, about 4 to 10k, but you want to be in the higher side because obviously the lower the bitrate, the quality can just get really bad, really a lot of distortion, a lot of blurriness, and it just never comes out well. So the higher you can keep it towards 10k, aim for that. And if you're running at 10k but you're still getting really bad frames or really bad performance, just try to drop the bitrate to maybe 8k and see how it feels, and just fine tune it like that until you get something you're happy with. If you go below 6k bitrate, that's when I'd probably start trying to adjust other settings and lowering other settings, but ideally keep everything like this and just play about with your bitrate until you find something nice between, we'll say, like 6 to 10k. That's what I found. But bitrate is definitely one you can play about with, and if you run all these settings and everything's going really good and smooth, definitely up your bitrate. Try jumping up to like 20-25k. That's kind of where you'd want to be at, because especially if you're uploading these things for like YouTube and stuff, you have that higher quality, but once it's rendered on YouTube, I think it knocks it down to around 10k, so that's why you kind of want to be aiming for recording in 10k, ideally at the minimum. But this is obviously for low-end PCs, so you might not have that luxury. But if you do have that luxury where everything's running good and solid, up your bitrate to 20 to 25k and just see how it feels, see how it runs, see it smooth. But if it starts getting all choppy and just looks bad, then pull it back down a bit. Now for me, for the presets, I'm on P5 slow good quality, but for the rest of the settings I'll keep it simple. For me, these were just bog standard. I tried one of these a bit lower. Personally didn't notice a crazy difference, but try it yourself and just see what you like. And actually, just one other thing that I'll touch on is your video settings. So I obviously run 1920 by 1080, and for this, the integer FPS value, I think a lot of people recommend to run in other settings, but for me, I record in 60 FPS, but if you want to do some slow motion work, that's why I run this. If you do anything with slow motion, if you like to slow some things down, especially like if you're trying to get a nice clip or something, try running it at 120, recording in 60, so when you slow down that FPS, it seems to be a bit smoother, just for smooth slow motion. A key point in this is all just a guide. This is what I've found, this is what worked for me and some other people that I've messed about with their setups, and especially for the lower end PCs, it kind of gives it a decent middle ground. But pretty simple settings. Just give these a go, see what you think, and the only things I'd recommend adjusting is really the bitrate. And if you're really struggling with that, then just make sure that all your game settings are as low as they can go as well. Hopefully squeeze a bit more performance, but give these a go, let me know what you think. And if anybody wants any other recommendations, any videos they want me to do, whether it's the streaming setups, a bit of settings for high-end PCs, audio settings, streaming settings, whatever you like, I can run through. Anybody has any questions, any queries, anything they want to find out, just let me know and I can try to get back to them, or I can make a dedicated video to help you out.